All right, all right, all right. How you doing? How you doing? So, I didn't bring my laptop with me. I should have brought it um, so I can read the email. So I decided. I know I took pictures of it, so I'm putting it in the beginning of this video. I think I took like 4 shots all. Put them all in a row so you guys have time to read it, and if not, you can just screenshot it and read that. I'd like to read the note for you like I do, or I have done in the past, but excuse me. Not going to do that today. It's early in the morning. It's a little chilly. I gotta get moving a little bit here. Get my blood going. Maybe I'll multitask. I got my hammer over here. I haven't been throwing that around in a while, so maybe I'll do it. But anyhow, this crazy person. What is going on? I mean, I guess I shouldn't be, poking the bear, so to speak. In this case, poking the cow, maybe is a better way to put it. And clearly I should have never given up acting, because apparently I am so good at it that mentally stunted crazy people believe everything I say. I don't lie in my videos. I'm telling you what's going on, but every once in a while I'll do like a little embellishment or something. Not that it matters, by the way. I want to address something here. But I was doing that video where I cooked the stew, and I've talked about this crazy woman that used to live in our apartments. So crazy, so offensive to everybody else, so annoying to everyone else in the building that, I think I'm going to do this, that she was actually kicked out of the building. Kicked out, man. She was kind of scary, dangerous. Matter of fact, this woman was so bad, Russian chick, that if this crazy 180-pound MMA trained lesbian knew her, lived in the same building, she probably would have kicked her ass a long time ago. That's how crazy it is. At any rate, I did that video, and it is true that when I went out in the van, her vehicle was blocking the road. Little backstory on that. This woman, I forget her name even. She had this weird Russian name, Ekaterina or something. Her name and phone number is still in my phone. I was friends with her for a while when she moved in, for the first few years, really. I used to feel sorry for her in a way, and so I remember I used to make her stew and stuff. And there's a funny thing that happened. I might as well just give you the whole backstory on this. She was pretty, and she wanted to be an actress, and the apartment next to mine was empty, and it had really good light. And I used to do headshots. I used to shoot a lot of stuff. I did a lot of photography to make money on the side back in the day. I shot a lot of smutty stuff too. And so she came by and we were talking about it. It was like, oh, I'll take your picture. She asked. So we're up there in this apartment. I'm taking her picture and I'm like, you got to smile. And she's like, oh, I'm not in the mood. She wasn't in a good mood. I said, well, you want to be an actress, right? Act like you're in a good mood. If you can't do that, then we're wasting both of our times. She got pissed. She got so pissed that was it. That one thing pissed her off. So, and that's when I realized I was dealing with somebody who's kind of unstable, right? After that, she didn't even talk to me for a long time. And I remember I had this girlfriend at one point who I had this motorcycle wreck where I couldn't walk. And no, it wasn't I couldn't walk. I broke both my wrists. I'm just giving you guys like an overall thing. I did a whole video of this on the beach a few years ago doing these different moves. At any rate, I feel good already, actually. So, I had this woman help me one time who, right after I had my motorcycle wreck and I broke both my wrists, who went shopping for me and everything else. And so I had her park in the back behind the building there so she could bring the groceries up. And this crazy Russian chick who lived there had parked her car back there, and she wasn't supposed to. She doesn't have a parking spot there. And just at that one time, my friend was there. And she flipped out for no good reason and berated this woman who I was friends with, gave her all kinds of grief. Perfect stranger, had no idea who she was. Just as crazy as this person who's sending me these emails, right? They're like two peas in a pod. So, multiple times, as a matter of fact, I even have pictures and video on my Instagram of this, not knowing it was her actually, because she's had a few different cars, and I didn't talk to her for years, so I didn't know it was her. But there was times when I was trying to leave the driveway and her vehicle would be blocking the driveway, sometimes for up to a half hour. There was times I'd come home and her car would be parked in the driveway blocking it, sometimes for a half hour. That's how inconsiderate and crazy she was. Now this particular day when I did that video, when I was cooking, I came out, I ran out of tomato sauce, so I had to go get some. And when I drove down the driveway and I wanted to pull out and make a right, her vehicle was blocking the road. And I was lucky I didn't have to wait that long, about 5 minutes. She comes out and she sees me, and I didn't say anything. I'm just looking at her because I've learned by this point you don't actually talk to this person. She's crazy. And she's like, what? Dropping F-bombs, all of it, flipping out over me, throwing her arms up there like I did something wrong. She's the one blocking the road. And I thought in my head, like this funny statement, which was, this chick, she either needs an ass kicking or an ass fucking. And that's what I thought. I thought, that's a funny line. But I didn't actually say it to her. But I stored that away in my brain. And yeah, she's flipping me off and everything else. For no reason. So I go to the store, I get the stuff, I come back, and there was a cop car out front, and I just thought to myself, well, somebody probably called the cops on her, and it took them that long to get there, because it didn't take me long to get that tomato sauce that I needed. And I thought to myself, well, this is funny, you know, and I thought, oh, you know, maybe I'll use this in the video. So I came back, I'm cooking, and then I tell the story about how I pulled out. She's down there. I think I gave a little backstory on her like I just did again. And then I said, you know, she did this. She flipped off. She's mouthing off to me. And I told her, I said, hey, what you need is either a good ass kicking or an ass fucking. And then later in the video, I say something like, I don't know. I mean, the cops might be coming to my door any minute. You know? It's acting. That was selling the premise. This is a little technique you use in comedy or acting in general. Didn't think anything of it. Normally when I do that in a video, I'll go, I'm just kidding. You know, something like that. And then I'll keep going on with the story. In this case, I didn't. But one time, comes back to bite me with this crazy bitch. So you can see in the note, she's attached to this. You're lying. You said it. And she's a mentally, you know, she's got all these issues. I mean, it takes one to know one, I suppose. Crazy people know crazy people. So she's just really attached to that, which is really bizarre to me. But at any rate, that's it. Now, I want to say a couple things about this as we progress from here, okay? I don't think it's, first of all, she's not a fighter. She could say whatever she wants, because here's what I know for a fact. Because I trained. Spent most of my uncle taught me boxing when I was a kid. He was a Golden Gloves boxer. And I wrestled a little in high school. And, I mean, I literally started a fight club when I was 6 years old with the neighbors in Kearney, New Jersey. And I had a lot of fights growing up. Tons of them. As an adult man, I couldn't tell you how many street fights I've had. Street fights. I would count with that some of my, when I was working in nightclubs as a bouncer. I literally used to get paid to beat people up and fuck them up. And the things I did with the, the families back home. But my point is, I know how to take care of myself, so I'm not worried. But one thing I know for a fact is fighters, people that know how to fight, don't go looking for fights. Because you know how dangerous it is. Anything can happen, especially on the street. I know because I've done it. And it's not cool. It's not cool because you could get into a thing. Concrete's hard. If you're training in martial arts, you got mats on the floor. If you're doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu like she says she's been doing, or MMA fighting, she's working within rules, parameters. There's mats around. There's refs. Nobody's really trying to hurt the other person. That's not the world I come from. I come from the world where somebody gets in your face and it's threatening. I step on their foot at the same time. I grab them by the throat. Bam! And get them close and fall down on top of them and whack their head into the ground till they're unconscious, which usually takes 1 or 2 shots. I've been doing that since I was a kid. I don't know where that comes from. It was just always in me innately. I had to learn how to actually fight in a way to not injure people that seriously, because that's something I was doing since I was a kid and it wasn't cool. I got in a lot of trouble for that. So the idea of this person coming at me this way, that's why it's funny to me. It's kind of like, bring it, see what happens. But it's not safe, right? Now you see in that email, she mentions this, what is it, the Mexican restaurant at the corner of my street. So she knows where I live even. So it's getting a little crazy. My thought on it is, I haven't written her back email-wise since the very first email, because I think it's wrong to engage with it. I think it's stupid. It would be stupid of me to engage with her one-on-one. It would be stupid of me to like actually meet her somewhere. What would I be walking into? Right? You don't know. I'm a grown-ass man. I don't go looking for trouble and fights these days. Again, not afraid of it. So it's weird. The whole thing is weird. But again, funny to me. I don't know, man. It's interesting. It's a delusional, kind of crazy person, obviously. But I do have to be careful about it. My message to her is, if she's watching this, I don't care what you think. I don't care if you think that what I said was 100% accurate or not. And it doesn't matter if it was. Even if I didn't tell the truth and say that little part I didn't actually say to her, to her face, I just thought that. Even if I would have said it, it doesn't matter. You don't know the situation. You don't know how crazy that person was. And all the things she had done and said to all the other people around us that lived there. She attacked people. Just getting in people's faces and screaming and cursing at them in this deranged manner. She jumped off a bridge onto, I was told it was onto the 101 highway out here. And it didn't kill her. She actually lived through that. And so the joke with us that live in the building was, we had hoped that that would have, knocked some sense into her maybe. But it didn't. It didn't, which is crazy. She was still worse when she came back from that accident and recovered. And there were people in the building that helped her out when she first came back from the hospital. And my one friend who lives up front contacted family of hers in Russia, everything. People tried to help her. And when she was healthy enough to not need help, she reverted right back to being the bitch that she was. Giving people grief, screaming at people. I mean, she was out of her mind. So, if you try to help somebody who's crazy, there's only so much you can do. And after a while, you're done. You're over it. Not my job. I'll reach out to somebody enough. I'll help them as much as I can if I need to, especially if it's in close proximity. All of it. My first reaction with confrontation, like a confrontational situation, is not always to want to have to pop somebody in the face. My thing is hey man, how's it going? What's going on? All right. What are you saying there? Okay, I hear you. I'll communicate in a way, in a non-threatening manner, but at the same time, from a position of strength, letting them know I ain't scared. And then we'll talk that out from there. Usually, and here's a crazy thing. I was thinking about this last night. I've talked about it a little bit, but I've avoided kind of talking about my pedigree, we'll say, with fighting and training and different martial arts styles and all that. Because if I told you about it, some of it, you would think I was BSing you. And I was thinking about that last night because I was always just a natural at it. And I remember I was training with this Navy SEAL. I normally don't give his name out, but I will because you can find him. His name's Carol Schumacher. He's a good guy. He's in the film business these days. When I met him, he was in the film business. He's kind of breaking into it over 30 years ago now, I guess, or about that. And Carol came up with his own style of Kung Fu. He had, from what I remember, he had black belts in 3 different disciplines, 3 different martial arts styles as a kid before he ever went in the Navy. And when he got out of the Navy, again, Navy SEAL, he went to China with his style. He studied, I think, physiology or something. He got a master's in that, I believe. And then he went to China with his style. So he's internationally recognized. It's called Shu Fu. And I trained with Carol. And the first time I ever trained with him, he said to me, he said, dude, if you develop my style correctly, you could be one of my instructors. Like, that's how locked in I am with this stuff. So I'm just saying, I'm not the guy that you want to be pushing too hard. But I don't try to walk around like I'm some kind of Billy Badass or something. It's just who I am. So to me, this is all kind of funny. But it's scary because what do you do? Like, this person, here's how I know this is not a real fighting person anyhow. She's telegraphing everything she's going to do. She's telling me who she is, what she's about, what her name is. She's telling me she knows where I live. So now I'm on edge. I'm not on edge like losing sleep over it or anything. I made the mistake last night before I went to bed of looking at email, and it was one of them. So when I was trying to fall asleep last night, I was running this in my brain like, what is with this person? Thinking about maybe doing a video. And, but I'm not changing anything about my life. But now at least I know. So if I see some large woman coming at me, I'm going to have to be like, okay, is this going to be this crazy bitch? I'm going to have to deal with this right now. And then how am I going to deal with that? Because it's a lose-lose proposition all around. I'm not real big on hitting women. You might have judged that from me by now. That is not my thing, man. 3 times in my life, I can recall ever putting hands on a woman. One was my sister, and she deserved it. And then the other 2 times were, one time was in high school. I've told this before. I was living alone. I've been living alone since I was like 14. And my senior year, some friends came over, and they brought these 3 girls. 2 guys brought over 3 girls and like a case of beer. As soon as they got into the apartment, one of them went with the one girl in the back bedroom. The other guy was in the living room out of eyesight, and I was in this dining room area with this blonde who drove the car of the girls. And she liked me. So she and I got along really well. And as we're getting along and talking, I hear a slap, and then I hear another slap. So my buddy on the sofa with one of the girls had some sort of thing. He probably groped her or something. She didn't like it. I don't know what happened between them, but she gets up, starts causing a scene, yelling and screaming, wanting to go. But the one girl's getting stooped in the bedroom, and the girl I'm with likes me, and she's the one that drove the car. So they're not having it. She goes outside, starts yelling, screaming, creating a ruckus. And I don't need that with my neighbors. I was already in enough trouble with the cops in town and living alone as a kid having parties all the time. I didn't need that. I was self-conscious about it. And because it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And I go out there and tell her to shut up, and she attacked me. And I diverted her hands and pushed her away, and she attacks me 3 times. You know, each time I pushed her away, except for the third time. When she came at me the third time, because she was clawing at me, all kinds of stuff. And all I did was, with the palm of my hand, I went, bam! Right in her forehead. Knocked her off her feet. She landed on her ass like, what now? You know, and she got up, ran around, and I chased her around the car. She got in the car acting all scared, and I was making funny faces at her, because the whole thing to me was ridiculous. The next time was, I was a DJ at the Jersey Shore, Club XS. Balcony DJ booth overlooking the dance floor. I got a couple hundred people on the dance floor. I got a song on. And we had turntables and CDs. I was mostly using CDs at this time. So I turn around to look at my music, and there's this little girl sitting in front of me, and that's the girl I dated her. And I hadn't seen her in months, maybe 6 months. And she's drunk. She was gorgeous. She was such a cutie, man. Maybe I should do the one that got away on her. She was really good looking. Curly hair, pixie kind of face, you know? I like that pixie look. And great little figure and everything on her. At any rate, she's hammered. And she's got her hands on her hips. She's like, I got a bone to pick with you. And I look at her, I'm like, well, now's not the time. I'm working. And she's not getting out of my way, and she's speaking a bunch of gibberish. I don't know what the hell she's talking about. And I got to think quick. So she's so tiny, I picked her up and just walked her out of the DJ booth onto this. Outside the door was a landing. There were stairs that went down, and there were stairs that went up, you know. And I put her down. And when I put her down, she grabs me by the throat with both her hands. She starts strangling me. Like, digging her nails into my throat and everything. Strangling her. Like, what the hell's going on? So I grab her by the wrist. I break the hold. I pin her hands at her waist. Pick her up. Hold her up to the wall. I'm like, hey, what the hell's wrong? You're just mad at me because I don't want to go out with you anymore. I put her down. I go to walk away. And she hauls off and clocks me. Well, bam! Right in the ear. Right in the, man, it friggin' hurt. Getting punched in the ear hurts. And I turn around like I'm thinking to myself, am I going to have to dock this? And 2 people were coming up the stairs. They had seen the whole thing, and that's it. That's it. I didn't strike her or anything. The only hands I put on her was picking her up twice and also getting her off me. That's it. Those are my 3 incidents with women where I've ever had to like physically touch them in a way where I was trying to defend myself. Other than that, and I've had women, like, it's happened. Women have, actually, one of the funniest ones, which actually isn't a bad story. I used to chew gum all the time, and there was this girl, Penny, I used to, hang out with out here. She was tall. She's like 5'9". And we were out to dinner with her friends of ours, 2 gay guys. So it's the 4 of us going out to dinner, and we're waiting in line to get in this restaurant over here, and chewing gum. She's like, why are you always chewing gum? I said, well, I don't know. It's the thing. But I said, boxers chew gum. It builds the muscles in your skull, helps you take a punch better. She goes, oh, yeah? Well, bam! She punched me right in the mouth. I couldn't believe she did it. Bam! I was like, what the hell's wrong with you? We had sex that night, so it was okay. It was that's a nice way to put it. If I was on stage doing a comedy routine, everything I'm doing right now would be far more raunchy and funnier. But this is me communicating with you, So at any rate, I'm not one of those guys. So for this woman to put me in this position where, what do you do? Because if anybody, I don't care, man or woman, if you approach me in a threatening manner and you invade my space, you're in my range, and you're threatening to me, it's not going to work out good for you. Bam! I'll give you one good shot. You're going down. And I'll tell you, this is true. Everything I'm telling you right now is true. I'm trying to think how many times, because I don't really know. Maybe a dozen times, maybe a little bit less, but in that range where, and I've got witnesses to this. I'm friends with the guy I did this to. My thing is, somebody's coming at you, they're getting in your face, they're talking a bunch of shit. I'm really big at just lowering my hips and whoop, bam, and giving a shot as hard as I can right in the solar plexus. I've dropped, like I said, probably close to a dozen guys in real, not screwing around, not training in a dojo. I'm talking in the streets, in parking lots mainly in parking lots, bars. My buddy I dropped, this guy was 240 pounds or more, 6 feet, 6'1", big guy. I've told the story before. We're cool now, but he was a real jerk to me in high school. And I was a little pipsqueak in high school. And I remember my senior year, my house burned down with me in it a week before school started. So it was a big deal going to school. Everybody knew about it. And this guy, Bill, every time he saw me in the hallway, he'd go, burning down Mike's house. Like burning down the house. It was a big song on the radio at the time. And what was I supposed to do about that? He was way bigger than me. It wasn't like I could just beat him up. So I had to live with it. And back in the 90s, I went home and I walked into the Bamboo Bar with some friends of mine. And I was in the front. We walk in and I don't see him, but he's sitting there. And as I walk in, he punches me in the arm and steps in front of me. He goes, Mike! And as soon as I recognized who it was, all this took fractions of a second. I saw his face. I knew who he was. He had just hit me. Now he's in my face being this obnoxious dickhead that he was in high school. I just went, bam! Fucking hard, man. And he just dropped to his knees, gasped for air, and I stood over and said, hey, asshole, I never liked you in high school. I don't like you now. Don't ever talk to me again. Don't ever touch me. Boom. And just walked past him because it was over, you know. And that's been a signature move since I learned that. Again, in the old days, it was bam, bam on the ground and cracking somebody's head open, which, that's not good. That's not good. So all I'm saying is, this is not just for her, but it's for anybody, because it's not just me. All of us here that do content creation and make videos, there's always a chance we could do or say something that offends a crazy person. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs type of person, like this broad, right? And you don't know how they're going to react in the real world. That's why this thing on the weekend, like this event, right? I'm nervous about that sort of thing. Meeting strangers, I'm cautiously optimistic about things with that, right? I like meeting people. I like meeting my fans and everything, but I don't know. You could be a crazy person. So we have to be cautious about this to a certain degree. That's all I'm saying. You know, you just don't know how things are going to shake out with it. But here's the thing. If she keeps sending me these emails, I'm going to keep doing these videos because apparently you guys are entertained by it. But I think what I'm going to have to do is possibly just block her now so I can't ever see. So if you're watching this, you crazy bitch, if you're watching this, you know, I'm just going to shut it off. I won't be able to see your emails anymore. So if you want a piece of me, you're going to have to come and surprise me. And if you come and surprise me, this is not a threat. I'm not threatening you in any way whatsoever. I am warning you. I'm not just warning you, I'm warning everybody. Anybody who wants to step to me and with bad intentions, you need to understand what you're getting yourself into, because if I end up physically harming you, which is don't want to do, have no intentions on doing that to anybody, but if it happens, it's going to be your fault, not mine. So I just want to leave you guys with that. And remember, be kind to one another. Unless it's a crazy 180-pound lesbian who's sending you threatening emails on a regular basis. Screw that person. I don't have to be nice to her at all. I hope you guys got a kick out of this. I feel good now. I got my blood pumping. We got a few things done. I'm going to empty the van out and get it ready for the drive. And that's it. That's it for now. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Crazy, right? You tell me what you think in the comments down there, and I'll catch you in the next one.